is going to go a long way in terms of saving relationships, nurturing relationships, and helping other people to really find themselves. That concept of equally yoked that's referred to in the Bible, it's an interesting thing because you can be equally yoked with someone as far as like your business passion, right? Say you have a couple that is, building a business together. They're both completely focused on being successful, making money, making the family secure and whatnot, but then be totally out of alignment when it comes to communication on a, intimate level as far as the nature of the relationship. They'll be able to talk to each other till they're blue in the face about, marketing and strategies and the business acumen and goals, decisions. But then when it comes to the intimacy factor of being able to communicate what's healthy for me and what's not healthy for me, that can become a difficulty factor. So equally yoked, as with all things, is layered. There's layers to those concepts, and we have to remember that when we are interacting with one another and dealing with each other. There's layers and levels to people, and it's not always going to be black and white, and it's not going to be always super simple, and it's not always going to happen overnight. But you will save yourself so much time and energy, and I say this from wisdom, from experience, as a mother, as a woman, and just my perspective on life in general. When you stop spending so much time trying to get other people to see the world that you see it, trying to get them to live the life that you want them to live, trying to get them to think about your feelings, to understand how you're feeling, to understand how you're thinking. Like, I've done literally mental gymnastics trying to get, at one point social media, but just beyond social media, trying to get other people to hear me out and to see the best part of me, or to take my advice on things that may be beneficial for them. And it's a total waste of time, and it ends up being counterproductive and bouncing back and harming you because, like I was talking about in my life visioning class on Saturday, you only have so much energy available on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, on a month-to-month basis, just in your life in general. You only have so much energy available. And then depending on how you eat and how you sleep and how you exercise and, your countenance, some people have more energy, some people have less energy. There's mental energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy, and physical energy, right? We only have a certain amount to exude per day. Most of us are exuding 90+% of our energy on a day-to-day basis on other people, on the world. Why did she take what I said that way? Why is he always worrying about what it is that I'm doing? Why is, I told, just all the games that we play inside our own heads and the stuff that we think about. I was listening to Jim Carrey earlier today, and he was saying that he got to a point where he realized that sometimes he would have a 2-hour conversation in his head about somebody else, where he'd be like so emphatic or pissed off about something that somebody else said and did to him. And for like 2 hours, he would be in his head like, yeah, this is what I'm going to say. And this is what I'm going to say. And then he's going to say this. And I was like, man, I've done that before. I don't really do it as much now because I'm so mindful and focused on being present. But just think about you yourself, how much energetic, mental and emotional and spiritual, how many loops you run around yourself or jump through within, surrounded by other people, trying to get them to feel you, to see you, to know you, to understand you. And also you trying to better develop how you see them, how you know them, how you understand them. The greatest gift that you can be another human being is to allow them to be their self. Doesn't mean that you're not going to help them to be better. It doesn't mean that you don't want the best for them. Not anything from that perspective, but just really as you learn people and as you, start to really value them for who they are at the core of their being, learning how to appreciate them for who they really are. And that will clean up some of those energetic cobwebs, that will develop the communication, that will make it easier to talk about difficult things, that will give them a propensity to listen to you when you are focused on, maybe you should eat better, but when we try to impose our will and impose our way on other people, it sets up a lot of very difficult and dysfunctional pathways that end up taking us a long time to clear up because, they didn't see us or they didn't hear us or vice versa. So when you are the energetic dominant party, meaning that you again are striving for consciousness, do want to help this person be better, do want to help them to operate in a better capacity, it's important that you learn how to balance what it is that they really truly desire at the core of their being, and what role you're supposed to play in that and what role you're not supposed to play in that. We had a conversation in my private Alchemy Cipher group, and one of the sisters wanted to start a dialogue about, I'm going to read you a bit of her question. She said, this is based on a conversation I had with my cousin. The concept is your enabler is disguised as your supporter. She is the one. Wait, no, not that part. Your enabler is disguised as your supporter. Basically, I'm talking to her and I realized that her family is afraid of encouraging her drinking problem instead of helping her get established and stable. And she said, I just realized that maybe in some ways I have become accustomed to certain unhealthy habits that are encouraged. And so she's basically talking about her family. She's got a family member that has an issue with alcohol, but because they are afraid of encouraging her to drink, they're enabling her in other ways. And that's where this whole thing came from. Her message in the group made me think about it. And I started to just think about, as a mother and just in general, how much of ourselves that we actually try to project on other people, or also end up inadvertently moving them towards something that's not in their best interest because they are not doing the thing that we think they should do, or because we are afraid that they don't have the courage to stand on their own 2 feet. Everybody has a life agenda. Everybody has a personal legend, and everybody has access to divine consciousness, source energy. We are not the only people that are helping our family and our loved ones. We are not the only people that are responsible for our children. And when I say people, I'm not just talking about the village, so to speak. There is energy and consciousness and love and emphasis and intention and focus and a lot of variances in divine love and divine attention and divine consciousness that is a part of who and what we all are. So in the situation with her family member, her family needing to be mindful that, we should be trying to steer her in the best way for her, but at the same time, giving credence to and appreciation for and gratitude for the aspects of this that we can't figure out. The aspects of this that we don't have all the answers to. The aspects of this that we know eventually are going to work themselves out if we give this time and proper nurturing and compassion and empathy. And so, yes, to the sister in the group, we do end up enabling one another. Parents enable their children a lot, and I try to be very mindful of that with my son, trying to get them to not make the mistakes that we made. And because we emphasize so much, I don't want you to make the mistakes that I made. Energetically, we are imposing those mistakes on them. And we do this a lot with, fear-based consciousness and even police brutality. I'm going to walk my son through the whole entire process, worst case, best case scenario, with coming in contact with a police officer. Well, you might have energetically just started off a ripple effect to where now he's going to end up running into the exact type of police officer that you're preparing him not to be, to come in contact with or to know how to deal with. Not because you didn't have good intentions, not because your heart is not in the right place, but because you just set an energetic timer, so to speak. You put this in his vibration. You put this in his mind. You made this a part of his energy and his frequency. And so now, because he's resonating it, it's only a matter of time before the universe attracts that to him. And in no way am I saying if you do that with your children that that's going to be the outcome, but it is something that we need to be mindful of. ZaZaAli.com is my website. All of my workbooks are there, and all this stuff that I'm talking about can be found there. Much love to you guys for your time and attention. Peace.